Welcome back to the women's bracketology, and
hey, a reminder that we've got a special Monday ESPN NBA doubleheader for your Karl Anthony Towns and the Knicks hosting Tyler Hero and the Heat, Madison Square Garden, 7:30 Eastern, and then it's Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets starting a big 4-game road trip against the Warriors. NBA Countdown will tip off our coverage at 7 Eastern, but we joke that we have our own version of Doctor Strange and Andrea Carter and Charlie Cream. They're going to outlook a path for some potential teams right now.
I'm just outlooking a path for some potential dynamic guard matchups. All right. So what we're going to do here, Charlie, you're going to help me out with this. We're going to go to the bottom of Spokane Regional 1. Now, if we look at these games, and again, we don't know what the results are, but we could see Florida State against LSU. We could also see Harvard. Now, this would be an upset, not going to be easy. We could potentially see Harvard against NC State. And if these games played out this way, thank you, Charlie, what we're looking at, Florida State has Tanaya Latson. She leads the nation this season in points per game. She's an absolute bucket. LSU, led by a dynamic guard in Flau'jae Johnson, who casually averaged 21 points in last year's NCAA tournament, but that's not the thing. It was on 58% from the field. Flau'jae Johnson was incredible. So 2 dynamic guards, and then we get down here. When we talk about Harvard, if they're going to pull off an upset, it's by Harmony Turner. She averages 22 points this season. She also has 2 40-point games. And NC State, led by Isaiah James, they've got a lot of dynamic guards, but Isaiah James averaged 28 points in last season's NCAA tournament. So when we talk about some dynamic guards, I know I'm biased, but the bottom of Spokane Region 1, this could be a lot of fun.
Well, as you can see, I would classify as a guard too, if I had any kind of career. But when we talked to one of those guards a little bit earlier with Hollywood, Madison Booker. So I want to talk a little bit about Texas's possible path. Let's there we go. Now we get the Longhorns involved here. We're going to certainly move them along to the second round, and then we're going to give Creighton the little bit of love there, and then we're going to take Tennessee and move them along, and we're going to move Ohio State and move the Buckeyes along. And first of all, I want to talk a little bit about this matchup. I call this the dry cleaner matchup because it will be a permanent press. Both teams love to get after it full court, and I think that either one of them could present a difficult matchup for Texas if we were to get them into the Sweet 16 playing against the Longhorns, who have good guard play, but they can get worn out. Their bigs are going to have to run up and down the court, and Tennessee and Ohio State are going to make them do that. So that's something to look at in Texas's path. It might get in their way a little bit.
Okay, so we've got dynamic guards, we've got the dry cleaners. Elle, we're going to turn it back to you for some teams that could put other teams in the spin cycle.
That's true. By the way, I don't think that Charlie got the memo that I'm the only one that gets to say horrible dad jokes, not him. The dry cleaner matchup, because it's going to be in a permanent press. Let's go there real fast, RL, because...
Well, first of all, do you take permanent press to the dry cleaners?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah, because they've got the press machine. I don't even know what that machine actually looks like. Clearly, that's not my area of expertise. But when we saw the bracket, you also identified that Tennessee-Ohio State matchup as a good one.
Well, first of all, I think Tennessee, because of their unique style of play, can be really difficult for teams to prepare for in a tournament like the NCAA, because most teams don't have a team like Tennessee within their conference. And what makes them unique is a number of things. Number one, they take a ton of threes per game. They average just about 31 threes attempted per game. That's third in the nation. They press 43% of the time. That's tops in the nation. They sub in and out like a hockey team about every 1.5 to 2 minutes. So they're a very different style to play. So if you're in the Big 12 or you're in the Big 10 or even the SEC, or other than the SEC, you don't really get to prepare for a team like Tennessee. And Charlie brought it up. If these two teams meet in the second round, it'll be just a lot of pressing, because Ohio State's a team that presses over 30% of the time.
I think that if those two teams meet, Kevin McGuff is probably the one coach that would be prepared for that, because he does it every day in practice. If you see Tennessee on your schedule, and you see that in October, then you start every day in practice. You prepare a little bit for the full court press. When you find them in a bracket, now you've got a week, a little 8 days to prepare. that's a tough team to prepare for because it's not just the press, but it's like you referred to, the rotation. So they're keeping fresh bodies on the floor. And if they were to meet in Ohio State, they got a freshman guard that's got to deal with that in Jelani Cambridge. But if there is a freshman guard that can, it is Cambridge.
And we said that Tennessee averages 30 attempts from 3 per game. Remember earlier this season they had a game where they made 33s. So if they catch fire, watch out.
We talked about, you know, if UConn can play the way that they played against South Carolina and they can make some noise. If Tennessee can play the way that they played UConn, right, ironically, they could potentially make some noise after a bit of a downturn to close out this season. All right, much more still ahead. Not much more. We got like a little nugget left. Everybody looked at me like, are you sure we've got much more? As you take a look at the full bracket, our selection show went down. The road to Final Four is officially set as we get ready for games on Thursday. We'll close out this show on the other side with some final news and notes.
On the other side, we have some final notes and news. So